So as you can see, now we are talking about criteria B strand 1. So like I have discussed in the previous video, just a small recap. I'm giving you 1 minute to read the statements mentioned here, and if you want to note it down, you can note it down for your reference. So let's move ahead. So here's an example. You are given a situation where George is an MYP grade 8 student who has 5 wires of different materials, which are as mentioned silver, copper, aluminium, zinc, and iron. And he wants to know that which metal will conduct the most electricity so that he can suggest that metal wire for his household wiring. So now here. Uh, as an MYP IB student of grade 10, I have had a lot of experience as we have been given the exposure to these kind of question from our 7th grade itself. So here is a pro tip. So the strand 3 talks about how you will manipulate the variables, which means that how will you decide them, how will you change them, how will you measure them. So whenever you start your criteria B, I recommend you define your variables in the start itself. So for example, I'm giving you 30 seconds to think that what the IV, DV and CV can be here. For those of you who are new, CB means control variable. So I hope that you are ready with your IV, CV and DV. So let's move ahead. Let's see if you were right or wrong. So before telling you the answers, I want to tell you that IV, what is IV? This is the variable that will be changed. DV, this is the variable that will be affected because of the change in IV. CV, there are two variables which are meant to be constant throughout the experiment so that results of experiment are not hampered. Note that there should be 5 IVs. There can only be one DV in an experiment, and there are two CVs in an experiment. So, for this experiment, let's tell the answer. So, the IV was the material of the metal because this is what we are changing. And the dependent variable here was the amount of electricity, which is also named as resistivity, as you can see in my electricity lectures. So this is the IV and DV here, and hence you can see what can be done. And the CV, there can be many CVs here. For example, the length and the aerial cross section of the wire are two CVs because they need to be constant here. Then the voltage that is provided, as discussed in the videos of electricity, V is equal to IR. This means that the voltage is directly proportional to the current, and hence here the voltage supplied should be constant. So these are 3 to 4 CVs that you can mention, although you have to only select two which are the most apt. So let's, these are the answers. So this is one more question of criteria B strand 1. I'll give you 1 minute to answer these questions. So now the times is up, and let me tell you the answer. So as you must remember that I told you what is the relationship, you need to find out what is the effect of the IV on the DV while keeping the CV as constant. So here I think that the IV, as you all have must guess, is nothing other than the amount of water which will be provided to the plant. Now the DV here is the growth of the plant, and I know that we can measure the growth easily by using a ruler or by using a scale. And the CV here can be either the sunlight, because that is one of the factors that affect photosynthesis. Another CV could be the temperature of water provided, as that may also be an important factor, and the rate of transpiration. So these are the different IVs, CVs, and DVs that you can tell. So here's a proper structured answer by me. So you can read this answer, you can note it down. And one more pro tip is that whenever you look at the IV, make sure that the units are defined. Also, make sure that the data is quantitative, the intervals are suitable, and also justified in the real life scenario.